Okay, so I think the first thing that I'm going to do is just get rid of some of the text. For the time being, I don't need that. I can always add that back in later. Uh, I'll have to remember that, with Oz, the compass rose is inverted. But let's just go ahead and I'm going to go to select and I will just start going through and getting rid of some of these things. And it really should be as simple as just box selecting them and deleting. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a few minutes to do that. And we'll see where we get. I might leave some of the details in, like I see there's these little sand dunes and some things that are drawn in the desert regions outside of Oz. I might leave those for the moment, and we'll figure it out. I will take out the reference to the author that originally, or that I shouldn't say originally, but that put this material together. Again, if you look in the links below, I'll provide a little bit of information on him and these maps in some of these videos. And we'll just kind of go ahead and do something like that. I mean, right now it's just sort of a general, quick fleshing it out, but even just that makes a nice bit of a difference. And we'll check back in a few minutes once I've done a little. I'm also going to go inside of the map and do a little bit in here as well. No need to watch me do the entire process, but let's just start with that, getting some of that extraneous detail out. And we'll check back in a few moments. Now, actually, one thing I'm going to do is I'm also going to make a note of with some of this material where it gets a little more mixed in with the map. It might not be super easy to do, so I will go ahead and I will zoom in on some of these areas. The Valley of Time. Well, that's something that I'm going to have to be a little more particular about in getting that out of there. So I'll go ahead and I'll just kind of zoom in and get rid of the material that way. The other option too is I could do a select all, and I could use the eraser tool to erase things. If the eraser is too small, I can just go ahead and increase the size in the properties so that I have a little bit of an easier time erasing what I want. Okay, so we'll stop at that and come back shortly. So a few more notes as I'm erasing, just to explain a few basic things about the eraser tool. If I'm on the eraser, uh, and if for some reason you've got the window, well, I've got the window in this case showing up over here just by default. If for some reason you lose the eraser tool, you can get it back up by double clicking on the eraser in your toolbox. It's just some things to be aware of. So if you're erasing, it's not just the settings for the size, which you can use by using the slider or by using the arrow keys or by keying things in or what have you. But there's also some, like for example, fade length is one that if I erase, it's now not fully erasing because I've adjusted this fade length. You Control Z and get rid of that change. So depending on the effect you're looking for, and in this case, I'm actually being fairly abrupt, where I want it completely gone or almost completely gone. Okay, so that's just something to be aware of. The other thing I want to point out is that when I say I'm erasing, I'm not truly erasing in this context. What's happening is I've got a foreground color and I've got a background color. And when I erase, it's basically getting rid of anything, or mostly getting rid of anything. In this case, I'd have to go over it a couple of times, a little more strongly based on the settings I have. But it's basically getting rid of whatever is not the background color. If I'm trying to truly erase, then what I would do is I would go to the level and I would add an alpha channel. And then when I erase, it truly and completely erases everything on this layer. So just something to be aware of as you're using the eraser tool.